and welcome to today's tutorial on shooting your first video. Video is pretty simple to get to. What you'll do is you'll bring up your live preview by hitting Capture. You'll go to the 360 section in our Capture mode, and under your first drop down we have an option for video. Now video has a couple different things that you'll need to pay attention to depending on which camera you're looking at. Most cameras have a minimum shutter speed for recording video of 1/30th frames per second. So you'll kind of want to lock that either at 1/30th or faster. And as far as your lights goes, depending on which studio you're working with, today I'm working with the PhotoBench 280. With this one, we have lots of flexible controls on manipulating the light inside the studio. So we'll kind of just boost these up until we get the proper lighting on the product. So once we have the proper lighting, what we'll want to do is at the bottom here, we have a video section. There's a couple different ways that you can spin a product. A single pass is going to be a full 360 all the way around. We also have other options such as fan. And fan, you can actually fan a certain degree and amount of rotation you want the object to rotate back and forth. So first, we're going to start off with just a single pass 360. Overlap is a function if you want it to rotate a little bit more than 360 and have your object be able to be looped within the software. So once you're all set with all your lighting, whether you need more underneath the product, what we'll have to do here is just simply hit the record button. You'll notice here we do require a memory card inside the camera in order to record. So go ahead and make sure you're using the correct type of speed for the camera in order to properly record, whether you're shooting in 1080p, 4K, 8K. You'll just need to make sure the memory card supports the speed at which you're recording. Each camera is a little bit different. Currently I'm shooting with a EOS R at 1080p. So once you've gone ahead and inserted your class 10 or better card, you'll hit OK here. We'll go ahead and refocus our shoe here, and now we can start the record process. So simply hitting record. Now video usually outputs at a rotation of speed in which your turntable can rotate, but we can alter the ending rotation speed as well. Another thing that you can do is automatically remove the audio. So if the machine if you're in a large warehouse and it's making too much noise, you can have it automatically cut the audio out. Now inside Ortery, you can actually export in MOV as well as MP4. And each one will have a couple different options that you can do to the file types. So with MOV, we can once again remove that audio. We can put it in its own subfolder, as well as change that playback speed. So depending on your turntable device, there's different speeds in which it will rotate and record, but you can specifically set it to a faster playback speed or set it to a length. So for instance, if we want this shoe to turn around in about 15 seconds, we can change that length. We can go ahead and go into the MP4. MP4 gives you a little bit more options as far as entering in your bit rate. Your bit rate is basically how much compression is done on the video itself. 23 is kind of the standard. You can also hit your little I button here, and this will let you know that we will be determining using H.264 and H.265 encoders, depending which record setting you're shooting in, for instance 1080p and 4K. You can also add intro styles as well as ending styles. These can be advertisements. You can always have it fade in and fade out. Advertisements would be like your company logo. You can have it start with the logo or end with the logo, or you can even fade in and fade out of the ending style here. Once you've selected all the options that you want, you can now go ahead and name your product by the SKU name or however your naming convention is. You can use spin alignment. Spin alignment is when you are shooting with an overlap, you can set a start and a stop point, and that way your video is a exact 360. So once you're all happy, we're gonna just hit that save, and now it's gonna save in the two formats. If you are on a Windows machine, you can hit the open folder here. Mac, the same thing. It's going to open up that same location of the footwear that you shot, and it will open in your local player. So as it rotates around, we get a nice view of the product. We can go ahead and hit finish here, and this opens up our live preview again. So that way, if you are shooting multiple videos, very simple to put in a new product when capturing. Other options that we do have in video mode would be adding a crop marker. So if you do shoot something in a square or a freeform type, you can get rid of all the extra white space. Video by standard is shot at a 16:9 ratio. There are also a couple different other ones for higher end cameras, but standard will be your 16:9 ratio. Ratios can also be set in our crop marker by selecting that 16:9. So if you still want to remove some of that extra white, just be sure to have enough padding for when the object does rotate. Personally, I don't like having the crop marker on. I like my white space being completely filled so we get the highest level of video from our image here. So here I'm just going to open up our aperture a little bit. We did lose a little bit of depth of field as the product rotated, so we'll compensate just by adding a little bit of ISO. And also increase the amount of light on the product if it does seem a little bit dark. Now we're going to go through our fan option, and we'll say we need a fan of about 90 degrees. So what this does is it sets a pre-rotate onto the product. The pre-rotate is going to be half your value, so the object's going to spin left or right. Now, first things first, I'm going to rotate my shoe 45 degrees here. We're going to go clockwise. That way we want our starting location more of a direct front shot of the product. So now that I've entered in 90 on my spin degree, you'll notice it's going to rotate first 90 degrees. Or I'm sorry, 45 degrees, and then complete that rotation all the way across. Now what the software is going to do is it's going to mirror that during the fan process. So it's actually going to fan back and forth through that single record process. So if we do hit our preview here, you'll see the object's going to rock back and forth. Once again, same exact options as before. You enter in your SKU number. You can add something like an underscore fan just to keep it its own file type. You hit save, and it will go through the processing for us. You can then select your folder icon. We have our fan here. Now we have that nice transition of it rocking back and forth. So that's going to be it for today's tutorial. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any additional questions.